My part is campus paper management. And I'm going to show you, I always usually tell everybody in the DESPA and TSSPAA, it's only when we share that we learn the most. If we apply what we've learned, we apply what we teach, then definitely we learn the most. So the school paper is a community newspaper, and education goes beyond the walls of the classroom. I have always said to my children that if you are really very good in your classroom, in English, Filipino, science, and math, you have to prove it to me by writing to me what do you think about a lot of issues in life. Because you don't only stop with being able to come up with solutions with math. You have to tell me what is in your thoughts, and then you write them down. Students, teachers, non-teaching staff, and families, home lives, communities, schools are institutions. Next, school paper advisors ought to have publications, newspapers, legitimate news websites, and news magazines or broadcast news programs. Para kamo kunong maging sa news. Kay ato ni dito tayo nga vlog, post na sa Cloud City Facebook page. Oh, hala, na ito nila nakaputang. Oh, next. Even a child or a teenager can earn bylines and be regarded as journalists. And SPAs can as well. Without those bylines, you are not a real journalist. Sanglit pagsurat yan ipasa haak. I-message ako. Ayaw pag-message sa akin mga alas 12 kay nagbabasa tak asawa. Pag ikita, hinunganin nga maong balito di rin ako nakapuntak cellphone basta gabi na. Next. The complete journalism perspective expands and deepens the scope of the school paper because talk about relevant and high-impact storytelling. Wider variety of subject matter enriches the learning experience, expands the world of the view of the campus community. In other words, when you begin writing, it's also one step towards educating the community. Later on, I will show to you nga amon newsletter dito, Old Kawayan, waray po kami mag-in-English. Ngan waray gap kami mag-tinag-alog. Kay nag-adapt kami kung ano ang mayda nga educational attainment and lugar. You will later, kamarisyo ngayon itwaray-waray nga imong susuraton. Bisan diri mag-araman mga teacher na hibaro na lang. Sige, next. The school paper, by the way, is not a memorandum. Wagahin, I remember, nagpa-news writing kami hanto, siguro ko kidode, estudyante pa da ini. May ginsubmit haamon, gimbasa kung as in ang memorandum ang ginatagaya, ginkopya niya from number 1 to 9 ang memorandum, news na hiya. O gidaw kay wrong. Sometimes it's like that, kaya waray nakita time, oh, basahala ito, tasimuon na nga news. But that's wrong. It's not an essay because there's a science to journalism. That's why it's called the science. Kay in news, it's an inverted pyramid. You start at the most important down to the least important. When you do editorial writing, you hit on the target first before it's like introducing something. So the ubad nimo, it could be, well, it's not a tweet nga masring ka nga D-Day in Rizal Central School. Gaano man D-Day? Ang D-Day dito man ito ha Europe, may France. It's not a viral video nga nag-inisog i principal, amo na ang imo topic, kay imo na video or imo gin audio record. Ayaw ka mo ito. It's also not a poem. Ito ko yung makariti, mano, ang title newsletter, kaya para may gano'n yung story. Oh, yeah! Wrong. Oh. Labi na nga diri telegram, kinaalayunan ang mga kag-anak na mahilig umihindid at may tungod dito principal. Ayaw na po ito. And the PowerPoint presentation, it's not those particular things. Sige, next. So, it's like reading a real newspaper where it is honest and fair. fair, then there's life, there's liberty, there's property, and pursuit of happiness. When you end up reading something, it's like, hey, kaganado nga yung kamalipayan ba hindi? It's a public policy. Labi na kung may nagbago ng polisiya at barangay, nga diri na ngayon pwede ang mga baboy or kung ano man nga kahayupan ni taada, magluroy-luroy di dahil kakalsadahan, kaya pwede mo na ngayon ihawon it manok kung ano na dinadapit. Di ba, Marisyo? Kung mahibaro nga tanan, waray na kapunan, waray na kababuyan dida, nga maglalatay-latay. Ay, madali na hira, ihawon. You should know that as well. It's a society, it's a human condition. It's the triumph of human spirit. We need triumph of human spirit kay tumatihan tambalan na upahiya ay diri. Iba. Ang triumph of the human spirit kay bisa ng kapobrihan naggraduar hiya. Hanuunom nga anak, an puto ani kaunom amo lang nakagraduate. That's the triumph of the spirit. Ang drive nga makabuhat hin maupay. There's drama, there's action, there's humor. We need drama. Ang nagbulag ni Ma'am ni Sir, ay ayaw ito. Chismis iton. Conflict, people, community, economy. Economy, by the way, duro man na pag-enjoy old kawayan, I got to notice that whenever there are a lot of people in the sea, they just panikos the bit. Kaya damot nangingisda. Nasingan uslit tagas isda kay amula kaya ibutang hitira mga lamisa. But you also know that there's quite a number of children growing up who was found fish. Binan diri sa parahaira kung pwede lang makibalyuhin karne, makikigbalyuhirahin karne, hinsugad dakmol nga mga bangus. Because probably, kung warahira kwarta, kaya mo matira kinaon. So, these are stories of economy, which is, di kita maaram. Hiya ko, I am very, very lucky that I was assigned in Old Kawayan because I was able to live the life and I was able to learn the life there. Although kulang pa, pero I was already good. Sige, next. Sometimes when we make our school paper, there are several problems. Ano man? Number one, pag nagbabasa kita, sorry, ito kasi hiya, kakaibat hiya nga font, sanglit, waray man din ka ni Ma'am Davey, kagapos siya. So, like for example, ato newsletter, problema, subject-verb agreement. I'm sorry ha, just trying to share it with you. Pag nagproblema ang subject-verb agreement, nasiring ako, nakaintindi ka itong ginsurat. Kaya nga, oo, sige, may periyon kung makaintindi, ihap-up. But, you have to be honest. Sakto ba? Kung nag-start ka ng past tense, ano yung story, it comes from the past, definitely end in the past. Or if it's a future story, you start with a will, you end up with a will. Sometimes it's like that. Say malipat lano. That is why kung nalilipat ka, makadto ka usa nga English teacher. Hiya pabasaha because our eyes are never enough. Hira pabasahe ra kay para na makakita gihapon manahin na nat sayop. You have the tenses, verbs, points, prepositions. Preposition. Saan nga ni nagamitin in nga nito? My birthday is in. My birthday is on. Dapat may tenses ito ng mga in-on prepositions. Antecedents, reference, pronouns, sentence structure, confusing, confused, ambiguous sentences. Sometimes because random, kay nasring man ang pagtutdo didang campus journalism that there should be 3 to 4 facts. Igsusuldi mo nga tanan, pag-abutan ni kaupat nga fact, run-on sentence na ngayon. Baga nagibra na hiya nga t-shirt. Ay halaba-labaan nga gimpirit. Ayaw na pagpirita. Isan man diri na naigo ang t-shirt, nagawas na antiyan, basta sentence siya. Ayaw. Kaya pwede man ito sunod. Ayaw kang alimot. When you write your news, it's 1 sentence, 1 paragraph. There are vocabulary flaws. Kinala, sapagkat tayo'y tao lamang. Lack of logical outline or pattern. But be very careful if you sinurat. Sometimes, natatago, we call out some of the ideas and we think that it's ours when in fact it's not. Nag-plagiarize na ngayon kita. And be very careful. Tapos pag lutungan na kangaralson, iginsurat natin, gimpulong-pulungan natin niya when in fact you never said those things. Wala lang, para ganada na story. Manarit. For example, I must admit, I do it like this. Sige nga po, example ha. Ma'am, nice. Dito ko mag-himon story. Huwag sa kang magbasa, pwede himuang ko ikaw nga din quote. Pero maram ako, bangin ako magsubra, bangin ako magkulang, signala ako. And when she says yes, and approves of it, of course, pagbasa niya, wala nang nagyayakan. Oh, may consent na ako ha iya. Nga, nagyakan hiya ito. Diba? Wala ka magbinuwa, kaya napupuman hiya. So, in other words, ask permission na. Wala man mawawara. Okay? Pero ayaw lang pag himuhimo na like 20 anak at mga participants, gimbloat ni mo, ginhimo ni mga 50. That's wrong. Dapat you have to be very objective. Sige, next. What's the relevance? Sometimes our newsletters are like boring and substantially incomplete storytelling. Most of the time, di rin nga ni nahuhuman ang story. Most sayo-sayo na headline, pero wala man dito nim gimbibiling. Kulang, tinipang ka, kulang. Mga pahaplayan, o, waray putan, karuyag signal. Kay mahilig naman magsinurat, whenever I write a story, I already think about the quote. So, example, ni Mamagan, Harold, muuban ka na ako adto ta sa Bagakay. Kay na ay opening dito na dito ang Rotary Club. So, I immediately read, ano ba't may the Rotary Club? Ano ba't ginukukuhan? And I already have an outline about what my story is. So, anak ko na lagi sir, Ma'am, pwede amo dito magyakan kay para amo na tak story. So, pwede. Okay na. So, okay, sige, mas maupay ito, ma'am. So, you just ask permission. Okay? Pwede ito hiya. Ayaw pag budong-budong niyo, tapos diriya maaram, balikan ka. So, ano ka? Wala magmagyakan, hindi. Wala ka. May isla. Sige, next. Misconceptions. Really, Brian, manam, laka mo kaya mong gininakan ni Raymond. Pero when you're writing already, you don't have an idea what's an inverted pyramid. Do not forget that the headline is the summary of the lead. That the lead is the summary of the story. Oh, yes. Patron ko, iti mo headline, iti mo title is the summary of the lead, which is the first paragraph. And the lead is the summary of your story. Tapos, imo na lang ito susunod-sunod. And for every particular sentence, that's already one paragraph. Ayaw i-run on. Most of the time, it's active sentence para maupay, para fresh nagyap. And make sure that there are quotes. Kaya ang quotes make your story credible and live. And you use the story. Otherwise, kung puro like he said, she said, like, sige. Editorial is sports writing is not about the sports jargon. Science is impact, rarity, and relevance. For example, hino din itaga elementary school. Ay, asal ba siya if I'm not wrong? Your father Bart, nga hara nila iyo, naghihimo hirang kandila. And there is science to the kandila that they're making, the candle that they're making. And it's a good story for a science story. Di ba? Ganards ano? May dangan ni Gapad Topalo, naghihimo dadto hirahin if I'm not wrong, siguro naghihimo hin hollow blocks ginagamit traditional way pagbasla. Tapos imo nga ginlalabog itong hollow blocks, di rin ay hollow block na lahiya kay makusugya. Paglabugan mo di nagbubublog. And that was an invention which was made by someone from here. Pero di parang kung ira na. Sige, next. Not to follow political patronage, be apolitical always. Bisa naghatag. For example, ani mo story kay naghatag 10 computer. Puro na lang ito para kan 10. Dapat in your story about Sambo's computer, mas damo ang relevance ang paghatag ng computer. Ano it impact hit paghatag it computer? Ano't matatabot school nga may computer na? This should be answered. Dili lang kay salamat Sambo. Basta may service. What a bisyo. So, you already know that. You take the story into another level. Dili kay tubtubla dida. Okay? Sige, next. You plan, you prepare, you practice. Kung may ka mo mga bata, you recruit earlier. Screen, writing ability. Screen for personality. Screen also for study habits. Did you know that most of my successful writers, itong mga nagpakadaog NSPC, they really have good study habits. Kay usa ko man lakasiring luwat haera, focus kita hadi, na focus man luwat hera, which means kaya gihapon nira bisan may dahera gini-studyhan na school, nakakahimo lagi pa rin story. Pag kaya ito nira nga duha, that means these people, these students, were teaching them to have brighter future ahead of them. Sige. And by the way, most of my individual writers turn up to be Philippine Science High School students. Siguro ko usa o duhala and either warehera magpadayon or kung makadto man nila late dawat. Sige, next. What are the contents that you should write? So, page 1. Page 1, banner story. Second top story. Banner story is the best story. Pinakadako nga story. Ang sunod, ang second top story. You can put there a light feature if you like. Top community news, top national banner. You put 2 to 3 photos in your banner page. Pero kung elementary, ayaw pag di namang picture, duha pwede na ito. Pero kung high school, kay dako yung page 3. Okay, 2 to 3. And then other photos, cartoon if you like. Tapos, within that page, there should also be an element of infographics. An infographics, kaya na mga ubiyaon na tao, gusto nila makasabot kung piradayon ang pipiraan ng magka-COVID. So, percentage ka. Boxes, teasers, font, variety, easy on the eyes, and clear, crisp, engaging pictures. Sige, next. Page 2, it's still news page, but it could be students' activities in your page 2, like, and test, nira. But what's the relevance with the test? Projects, story variety, story type variety, seminars, programs, sentence pattern variety. And do not forget always to tell your story about okay, pag na-answer, for example, the activity is yes o. Ngayon, always have to make sure that the story answers the question, why? Yes. Manira magtatanong, kay bangin nitira magpakaguCOVID. Ngayon, ano nira was sira? May diba parents' consent? Ngayon, pinagi ito, ano man ang impact para haira? Pwede wala rin pag-COVID, ano? So, page 3, still with the news, but now you talk about teachers, talk about parents and family. Sige, next. Page 4. Page 4 naman, this one is 12 pages. Saba lang, basta 12 pages. So, page 4 ng news part, you have the story coming from the barangay, from Tacloban, from Leyte, or from the nation. Which are events, which are people, which are places, which are issues, and which are situations. Pipiraman katao ang nabakunahan na. Han mga nabakunahan na, may nakabanabatian nga nag-blood clot hira. Pero ayaw, pag kuhanin duro, eksakto hala. Sige, next. Pahinga, risuhon. Pages 5, 6, and 7. Editorial and editorial column and editorial cartoon and then variety of relevance. When you do your editorial, that's the editorial. And then the others become the columns. So you have one column will talk about an event. So an event, masring ka nga, supposedly patron niya na. Pero kaya naman naka-lockdown, kaya na diri kita magdamo. It's an event. You talk about people. What is happening with our high school students? People at mag-graduate. Kung naka-graduate na, sigurado ba kita nga may dahira na baruan? That's a column. Next, places. At Tacloban City, is it the safest city in the region? Nga kulang diri ka magkaka-COVID? Issues. Ang paghatag ang pambakuna, hinuaan na una. Sorry. Situations, just like what I've said, ang iyong mga anak or ang natin mga anak, kumusta manera na nagmo-module or nag-online. That is your column. Next. In pages 8, 9. 8, 9 ba? 8 and 9, it will become your feature page. And your feature page will become features variety, relevance, and human interest. Just the same. What are features that are events? What are features that are people, places, issues, and situations? Ayaw ka nga limot, the difference between an editorial and feature, sometimes elementary, ang feature writer na nga editorial, ang editorial writer na nga feature. Ano man ang pagkakaiba? Kay feature writer, mahilig ka adjective. Editorial writer is very serious when he writes. Diri nabutang adjective. Pag nakabasa ka mo bata, sugad nga na surat, mahilig mag-describe, he or she is a feature writer. Pag nakabasa ka mo bata, straightforward ka magsurat, he or she is an editorial writer. Always remember that. Sige, next. Science and technology, just this kanina share ko na basis issues, situations. For example, pag-ipirit ka HIV in Tacloban City. Kung ang alien gusto story, kaya tungkol nga amot pinaka-relevant na national nga kwan, arena, make sure that in your story, it will also appear locally. Mas ring ka pipira na ang nagka-HIV sa Tacloban. Ngan mas ring ka ang mga nagka-HIV sa Tacloban, naman percentage ng mga estudyante sa sagkahan or alitihay nga i-eskwelahan unaware nga yung HIV nga sakit pagkanag ka waray na yung kakatuan ito. So you talk about that for science and technology. Next, for sports, just the same. It's either you go with sports features or sports coverage. Just what I have told you yesterday. Sige, let's continue. Next ring up. Practice what we teach and learn the craft better. There's no other way to that. Practice what we teach, learn the craft better. Yesterday, I started becoming a nagmang puno ako sa NSPC. Ang 2004, gigawin ko kayo sa pag-araw as a news writing source person, kami Sir Tinric Adriano. Tapos wala yung nakita, kaya nagdaog man ang bata yung feature, akong ba? Feature, right? Feature, story, resource person naman ako. Pagkasunod, kaya nagdaog anak batang copy reading, and headline writing naman ako. Pagkasunod, kaya nagdaog sports na naman ako. Pagkasunod, nasa Tacloban region, kung nakakadawan mo bata, resource person ka na. And I say, I do not. To practice what you learn craft better. And it is only when you say you learn the most. Pag ito kung next. Nag-picture ako estudyante nga rin. Di ba gusto kasi na wala nagkamit mga kaoy bubutangan niya suga may doon na niya suga-suga nga nasugadla okay nga hiya gihapon nita akong technical hiya team usalay nga team. So those are newsletters. Sige next. You call that breaks. Saya kay madali lang yan. Next. Time sa nagpinalas to kati so gusto matag itadaan do not spur looks the newsletter and go next. Our features page. Well, and use ganun words. Next. What is time? ASDS. And try to imagine kung diin pula ito yung ginhimo. Ha-publisher. Ginano ko man la. Gin-divide ko lang into 3 columns. Imagine po ang papel nga gimpipilo makaupat nga 1/4 na iya. Nga gimbubutang ko dida, kung inihiya din nga part, dapat may picture hiya. Tapos tini-story la. Kaya nasugad man ito pagbasa. Kung may picture didi, may picture ka didi. Opposites. Okay? Tapos pagod, nasa ring, para magbasa dapat may teaser ka. I-teaser ito nga ada ubos. Mas ring page, teaser itawag ito. Kaya para hera, maguna-una nga, may the page 2, may the page 3. Sige, next. Just the same, itong mga inside pages. This one, inihiya, ginatagakon, duhala kadlaw o usa ka adlaw. Kinahanglan ni newsletter and technical assistance and division. May dahera tinatawag nga harampang. Kinhimuan na lang namon, kinhimuan namon harampang. Kaya basta harampang. So, Liberal Party. Ayaw ba mag-isugera? So, amo na ito, Ma'am Irene, adat dida. Sige, next. Kanan diam CID ito hiya. O, aday search. Sige, next. Ito hiya pinakasimple nga paghimot newsletter ng waray picture. And since Stephanie, tawag namon updates. Ako nagsusuratan si Dr. Boy Palami, may soul rest in peace, ang nag-edit ha akon. Ginsusuga dito namon, gandara ko Rizal. Pero nasa rin ang waray picture. So, nag-change na naman kami. Sige, next. Gimbutangan ko na yung picture. Amo lagi pa naging gamit. Ang gingamit ko is publisher. Ngayon, hala, ipambutangit nga tanin nga picture dida. However, kanda mag-picture usahay, baga amo na ikitaan. Sige, next. Next. Inihiya, amoy na newsletter namon niya na ha-old kawayan. Iyo nga ni basahon, ay na pag kinitype nga gwapo dida. Nasa ring dito takbanan, ay tamong banner story, budyo nga pag-aram na, ano to David sunod? No.
Jello!
Opposite budyo nga pag-aram.
Jello!
Yan. Naputo nagtawag, hinpag-urusa para ipag-apprehend klase. Okay? So, wala iya, kaya ang mga old kawan sa ring tanan niya magpag-graduate, basta kakaintindi ra hawaray-waray. Basta kung nga iyo kung minut nag-strat, puro ka maistrahan. Eh, wala man bata. Pipirito na may bata dito. Ay laka mo naringasa. Sa bagay, wala na magdito. An amon school la. Sa old kawala, an may da kada semana, kada grade level. Nganduro nak pangadji hakalibutan, amin haigbaw, na sana wala gad magkasakit na era. We just practice social distancing. Pagka umubo ka, kipapauli ko ikaw dayon. Kaya na di ako matapnan mo at mo atubangan. Ngandiri na nakapot. Adilera didi. It one or kay kulang man. nagdadarayrahin module. Ang module gini-explain ang 1 to 2 ng mga parts. Kadrat sunod nga part. 1 to 2 nga part. And it was, although it was not enough, but it was already very good sa siring ang mga parents. That's only in Old Kawayan. Anyway, bayang mapriso ayaw sumat. That is why it was no wonder nga damo ang nanahatag haamon. Kaya nakakakita manera nga interesado kami nga magbulig. If you go to Deped tayo Old Kawayan, ES, makita ka mo ang mga activities namon. And we never wrote somebody nga tagaan kami bond paper nga nihin kung ano lang. It was already enough for stakeholders to notice us nga may da ngayon sugad nga eskwelahan nga pwede ngayon makahatag. If you go there, gimbayaan ko, it bond paper dito, more than enough pa, bisan umabot pat next school year. Nganit mga ink, medyo damo-damo pag direk maghihinambog binduro. Kaya may naghatag na padi nga ang iya ginatag haamon ang 664 nga ink, gintagaan kami han uupat, hintag 120 kadaan nga bottles. And you can only imagine that. That's already enough for 3 quarters. Although nagpalit na ako niya na, but it was already like, correct, pakasabot kung ano natabo. And etc. etc. What I'm trying to say is, if you go, anyway, those pages, they can be found in Deped tayo Old Kawayan. Kay tungod nga aaday publisher, imo hiya din si save as JPEG. Pag na-save mo hiya as picture, you're ready to post it over Facebook. Kung na-post mo na Facebook, nababasa gyapit iba na waray makakuha hard copy. And we distributed that, by the way. Hard copy. Ano naking gamit? A4 bond paper. Kay upat man na ka pages. Enough na ito hiya para community nga makasabot nga amo itong iyo activities. Dili kinahanglan maghinambog, pero kinahanglan ma-inform it nga tanan kay para ra aware nga naniniguro ngayon it eskwelahan nga maging maupay itira, maupay it pan-edukasyon itira mga anak. Tiraghap na bulig. Because good karmic effect is equal to good karmic effect. Anak kung bad, mabanda taim. Okay? Sige, next. O, tugtubleto din page 4, wala nak magpunhan kag yung pagawas gumawa sa pagkarisal. Pero those stories are coming from them. And that is the page there. Nasring na outun kay gintitis mo hera. Pero nagbabasa na hera. And by the way, Deped tayo Old Kawayan has only 180 followers in Facebook. Pero it amon reach, naabot kami 1,500 to 1,800. It reach namon, ha? It nakakabasa tamon sa ka-post, naabotin 1,800. Pero tam follower are only something like 180. So, sobra-sobrahan. Gunners. Next. Well, credits to Mang Earl, Victor Rosero. Here's the thing. Ayaw kahadlok paghimot story. Keep on writing. Kay ba man kun sayop, when you go back again, makikita mo imo sayop. You see, when I write, I use only my cell phone. And I have my WordPress here. Whenever there is an activity, I post it first over Facebook. Yan na kay bumalik ka Rizal, ada kay nakaka-post siya pa Rizal. If you go to Kamansihay na second Jessa, please check Kamansihay Elementary School because I think that's the first Facebook page in Tacloban City. Way back in 2012, Matthew 2 and Kamansihay Elementary School. Nung kitaan niyo dito kung ano ako kamatambok, balito kagasa. Kung ano dito kagasa. And it's very nice that there continuity. Bisan waray na ako Kamansihay. I only stayed there for 4 months. But you can continue with na they will always look at the from bakit iba na school why continuity doesn't end there. So I was saying Nasa rin ako, basta may activity, I post it over Facebook, mga bullet-bullet lang, so that I remember the facts. When I remember the facts, when I'm ready to write, I go now to WordPress. And when I'm in WordPress, I begin scrolling using my cell phone. Itsahan ko nga post, by the way, damo it grammatical error. Kung the second post, pagbasa na ako notro, that means that's already editing time. That is why, saan ko nga pag-post, nasring Jane Conde, Kuya, kayo na nag-April nga may naman yan na. First pala at piya. O yan naman, edit na act. So you see, I am not perfect. Pero, the most important thing is, you start writing, and when you're done writing, you would have written something beautiful. No one is perfect, but you start up with something, and you end up with something bigger. Okay? Ayaw kang halimot, ayaw kang hadlok. You can always share your story to me. Nagsiring na kaiyo sa ilang pagduruha. Okay? Share your story kay para at least makasiring nga, uy, tinuod, school paper advisor ako.